the particle is just this dust, I think, right? And it's not actually the main character. Okay, the main character is this this thing, this object. Alright, but the idea here is that this particle are supposed to enhance the animation, okay, make it more interesting. So, okay, another example still using particle to create the secondary effect. So this secondary effect is actually okay, it's the confetti that okay, you notice it's not just particle, okay. To create this, you can play around with even like this ribbon, right? Maybe that's not completely a particle. It can be a sweep object which can be animated, or you can use the spline wrap to animate those kind of ribbon animation. Okay, but the idea here is to combine all this to make it more interesting lah. Then yeah, this pencil graphite broken into pieces. So those pieces which is being broken is actually a particle effect. So next one is the object. So this is quite interesting lah, because it's difficult to animate this kind of particle, to form this kind of object lah by hand. Okay, if you are going to animate or to create this shape, okay, to model this shape, and then after that the object that you are model is those single piece of object or geometry, right? It's going to take forever to model lah. Alright, so for the demo, I'm going to basically show you 3 examples lah. The first one, which is a modifier, okay, using forces to create a bit of effect. Then the next one is to trace your particle. Okay, this one a bit not just particle system, but a bit of MoGraph. And the last one is you can use your particles together with a dynamic body. Okay, dynamic body. So let's see. Okay, the first one, which is forces. Okay. So this is the first example. Okay. So this first example is basically this particle is being moved or being pushed based on the wind and rotation modifier or forces. Okay, you can see that the particle, right, instead of just going straight forward, okay, apply a wind and rotation so that it moves like a spiral. Okay, this can create a very abstract effect lah. Okay, sometimes it's, or even you can create like a tornado or something. Okay, so how I do it is basically okay, so you will need to create a particle emitter first. Alright, so this particle emitter, the default setting is birth rate editor 10, birth rate renderer 10. Okay, this is the amount of particle being generated or being emit lah. Okay, so visibility 100%. Start emission. Okay, so start emission means that from frame 0, right? Frame 0, the emitter is being generated. Okay, from frame 0. Okay, so you can change. Let's say you want to start this at frame, let's say frame 50. Alright, so One it 50, then it will start to generate the emitter. Right, so you can control when to start and when to end. Okay, so let's say I change the stop emission to 50. Okay, so it will just generate the particle 50, then it will stop generating particles. Okay, so start emission and stop emission basically is the timing lah. Alright, next is the lifetime. So you can set how long this particle appear. Okay, so maybe let's say if I change this to 50, right, then it will play once 50, it will disappear. Alright, and speed. Okay, the speed is how fast or how slow this particle, this emitter being generate lah. So I can change this. Let's say I've increased to, let's say, 800, then will move very fast lah. Alright. Rotation, you can set to rotate your particle, say 90 degrees. It will rotate lah. Right now it doesn't have an object, so you can't see the rotation. N scale, your particle, the scale, okay, when it start to appear, if you want to make it smaller or want to make it bigger, you can change this N scale. Okay, so besides the lifetime, speed, rotation, and N scale, there's a variation. This variation is actually like a random. So you can set each particle, right? If you want them to, let's say for the speed, okay, instead of all moving at 850 cm, you can set a variation. Okay, so not all the particle will change or move at that same speed. Right, so you can see that there's a bit of a random effect lah, right? So tangible, how this thing rotate. Okay, tangible is how this thing move or rotate, right? Next is show object. Okay, show object, basically you would need to apply a model or a object or a geometry, okay, to your particle. Okay, so this is the object. Actually, you can apply not just one object, you can apply a few objects. Okay, you can apply a few objects to your particle, and it will just assign the model or the object to the emitter. Okay, and the emitter will just read from this child inside. Okay, so but you will need to turn on the show objects, right? Turn on show object, then it will read the child object. Okay, very straightforward lah. Alright, so okay, next is the emitter scale. Okay, this emitter, besides the particle tab, there is the emitter tab. Okay, this is to define the how big this emitter shape is lah. Okay, right now the size is 100 cm, so you can change, let's say 500, make it wider, and so on. Okay, or you can, this one you can change angle. Okay, there's the top one is emitter type. There's two types, pyramid and cone. So pyramid is how this emitter is being emit lah, okay, using this pyramid shape. And the other one is cone. So I think this cone, right, when you use the cone, is actually you can emit at radial. Should be at radial lah, but there. Okay, so your particle doesn't have to just emit in one direction. You can also rotate the emitter to a different angle. Let's say rotate this upwards. Alright. Okay, so that's your emitter. Then okay, let me show you how I create this. Okay, now okay, so far any question, anything that you want to ask me about the emitter particle object class? So far, is there any question? No question. Okay, no question. Okay, so next I want to show you is the forces. Okay, the force. So okay, let's create this. Okay, so the force you can find from the simulate menu under forces. Okay, so let's choose wind. Okay, wind. So this wind, okay, that's actually when you apply the force modifier, okay, you can just select your emitter. Okay, click on the emitter object, right? And then you choose the modifier. Okay, then it will apply. I think this modifier will apply to the emitter now. Okay, you don't have to drag. Previously, I showed you drag the modifier inside the emitter here. Okay, under the include menu, include tab. So I think you don't have to do that. Okay, you just select the emitter and then apply the modifier forces. Then it will affect. That's it. Okay, so this force right now there's no change. You don't see much change. But if I increase this to let's say 100 speed, you can see that now the particle move very fast because there's a wind effect lah. Okay, so also I can use this turbulence to make it uh, more random or more turbulence lah, right? Turbulence frequency. Okay, so you can also apply forces. You can also apply rotation. Okay, this rotation, okay, when applied to the emitter, it will rotate. Okay, it will move the emitter particles in a rotation. So this one, I think if I change this to 50, 100. Okay, so let me just see the settings for my emitter. Okay, so what I did here was I just increased the number of particles or number of number of particles to be created lah. Okay, so I increased to 50 and birth rate also 50. Okay, so if you look at from the front view, you will create this very hypnotic effect lah. Right? Then Okay, so if I change the rotation for the wind, okay, if I change this rotation to face upward, then you can see that it will create this kind of like a vortex effects, right? And if I rotate my rotation banking to 90 degrees, it will create like a tornado effect, something like that. Okay, so yeah, these are some of the example you can use your modifier forces to affect your emitter. So obviously you can apply material or object to your emitter that will start to, it can start to generate that object lah. Alright, so very simple. Your object, okay, your model, your object here or your model here, right, doesn't have to be a static object lah. Okay, in fact, it can be animate also. Okay, in fact, this thing, right, it can be animated. Okay, but obviously, it will take some, it will slow down the machine if you have a lot of animation going on lah. Okay, especially if you're using this particle. Okay, so example, okay, let's try this again. Okay, if you okay, let's say for example, if you animate this object or this polygon or this primitive, right, and when you apply to the emitter, it will combine these two animation together now. Okay, so maybe let's say say play around with the radius. So okay, there's the animation. Then I apply the animation to the emitter. Then okay, try this one. Okay, so you can see there's a two. I mean the disc itself, there's an animation. Okay, it's the scaling effect as well as the emitter animation. Okay, so that is the modifier or the forces. Okay, next I want to show you is okay, this example lah. Okay, okay, this example. So far, is there any question, class? Anything that you want to ask me? Modifier, class. No question. Okay. Okay, so the next example is I actually want to show you this deflector lah. Okay, this modifier. Okay, deflector or disruptor. This deflector basically is like a collision. So when you use this deflector, right, actually your particle when you apply this deflector modifier, okay, it actually will deflect from that object lah. Okay, whatever particle, okay, whatever particle that interact with this deflector will actually deflect lah. Okay, so something like this kind of animation. Alright, so okay, I'm going to show you how I do this. First, you create your emitter. Alright, so you have your emitter. Then, okay, I'm going to assign a sphere to the particle. So the sphere probably make it smaller. Let's say 15. Assign to emitter. Emitter show object. Alright. So much. Alright, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a gravity so that the particle is forced to move downwards. Okay, so simulate menu, forces, apply gravity. Okay, so now it start to be dragged downwards. Alright, so next is I'm going to apply or create a deflector modifier. Okay, so this deflector basically, this is the original position. I need to rotate it to 90 degrees. Okay, probably I'll change the size a bit. Let's say put this to 100, 400. Alright, then bring down the deflector below the emitter. Okay, so that the emitter will drop on top of this deflector, and yeah, and it will bounce off this deflector lah. Okay, so alright, so that's the deflector. So if I apply my emitter, alright. So next is, let me see this. Okay, this one for the emitter, I will change the stock emission to frame 30 lah. Okay, means that after frame 30, it will not generate any more particles. Okay, so the emitter, okay, what I did here was I changed the stock emission to frame 30. Right, so after frame 30, it will not generate any more particles. Okay, very simple. Next, tracer, okay. Okay, next I'm going to apply a tracer MoGraph lah. Okay, this tracer is actually a part of a MoGraph component. Okay, tracer. So, okay, this tracer, it's actually part of a MoGraph lah. Okay, I'll talk about MoGraph later on when we start on the MoGraph topic lah. Okay, but to create this, okay, but actually this tracer is you can apply to your particle also. Okay, so again, there's few ways. I mean, when you apply the tracer, you can select the emitter first. Okay, then choose under the MoGraph, choose tracer. Okay, so if you don't select the emitter, okay, when you create the tracer, then you need to drag the emitter inside this trace link. Okay, drag this emitter inside here. Okay, so now when I play, okay, you can see that the movement or the position of the particle is being traced by the tracer. Okay. So okay, next I want to just uncheck these vertices so that it's not tracing the vertices. And then for limit, okay, limit I'm going to change this to from n. Okay, so means that I'm going to set the length of the tracer. Okay, so limit, I'm going to limit this to 20. Okay, you can set. Okay, you can set this. Let's say you want to make it shorter, change this amount to 10. Okay, even shorter. If you want to make it longer, probably 100. Okay, that makes no difference. 20. Okay. So these few things you change. Okay, the settings for the tracer. Okay, to get this kind of look lah. Okay, now this tracer, right, it's still it doesn't render lah. Okay, it doesn't render. So if I render view, it doesn't show the tracer. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to assign geometry to the tracer. So I can do that using a sweep. Okay, sweep object. Okay, so I need to create a circle first. Okay, so this circle, let's see, this circle. Okay, this circle is the profile shape. Okay, so I'll change the radius, bring it down to 5 cm. Okay, then I need to create a sweep generator. Okay, sweep generator. So the sweep generator, alright, it needs to have a child object to create the sweep. Okay, so make sure that the circle and the tracer, right, the circle is on top of the tracer. Okay, the circle is on top of the tracer, and drag these two items or two objects inside the sweep. Right, then you can see the object. Right. Now, obviously, I don't want it to look this way. Okay, I want the end to look slightly smaller lah. Okay, so for the sweep object, okay, wait, let me just okay, for sweep object, I can under the object, okay, sweep object, then what I'll do is the details, right? I click on the details, okay, to expand the menu. Okay, then the scaling, right? I want this end to be smaller, so drag this curve downwards. Right? You can see there's the change happening there. Okay. That's it. All right. Any questions so far? Okay, don't worry. I'll do a video recording for this demo, right? And then I'll send to you guys lah. Okay, the last one which I want to show you is particles with the dynamic body. Okay, dynamics. So dynamic is basically it's a real world simulation, right? Dynamics real world simulation. You don't have to use keyframe to simulate the movement, okay, for the dynamics. Okay, so the dynamics, right, it's okay, the dynamic is actually using this dynamic tag lah, okay, dynamic body tag. So just that you can apply the dynamic body tag, right, to particles lah. Okay, so you can create this kind of let's say maybe this is ice or capsule. Okay, So instead of modeling each object, you know, I've seen some of you previously, you know, you model a ice cube or a lot of object. You model each one individually. No, but you can actually apply uh, one piece of model or one piece of object, right? Apply it to the particles and then to populate the model. Okay, so what I have here is just one capsule, and then I apply to the emitter. So this emitter will just generate or emit a lot of particles, a lot of capsule. Alright. Then I want this thing to drop on this let's say this glass or cup. Okay, so quickly I want to show you how I did that. So first I need to create a container lah. Okay, can be anything, a glass, a cup, or anything lah. Okay. So go to my front view. Maybe this one I just show you a bowl lah. Okay, let me just show you a bowl. I hope you guys still familiar with modeling using spline or tangent break it. Ui. Ayo. Okay, so bear with me and just model this thing very quickly. Okay, so this is the profile for my bowl. Then I apply the shape. Okay. Then, okay, next I create a particle. Okay, create my particle. Now I want this particle, right, to generate the emitter downwards lah. Okay, so let me just check. Okay, so my emitter, right, I'm going to change the birth rate to 5. Birth rate render to 5 also. Then stop emission probably at frame 30 will stop. Then I will rotate, okay, shift rotate this to 90 degrees minus 90 degrees. So it's looking downwards and it will, okay, it will generate downwards. And then okay, I'm going to make the particle bigger lah. So mostly it will cover the bowl. Okay, so if you look here, right, when I start to play, the particle actually pass through this bowl. It doesn't interact, doesn't collide with this object. Okay, so that's when I will need to apply dynamic tag to both my emitter and this bowl, this left object. So under the tags, okay, simulation tags, you create a rigid body tag, okay, apply it to the emitter. Okay, so the emitter, alright, you need to make this emitter as a dynamic body or rigid body. Okay, so tags under simulation rigid body. Alright, nothing happened yet. So next, you're going to apply another dynamic text, which is a collider body, to the lathe. Okay, so now this lathe, right, is actually a collision, collider. So whatever dynamics interact with this object will collide lah. Okay, so when I play, okay, okay, let me just apply capsule. Okay, smaller. Apply this to the emitter. Alright, now it works. Okay, so this is the easiest way to create this kind of effect lah. You know that some TV commercial like those what cracker lah, those cornflake lah, those fruit lah. You can use this. Okay, you can use this method, okay, to create the effect lah. Okay, this object can be anything lah. This object can be anything. Alright, so that's how you apply dynamic body. Okay, dynamic body tag to your particles. Okay, to your particles. Now for the emitter, right? Just now I show you. Basically, I just decrease the number of particles. Okay. Then I'll change the stop emission time to 30 frame. At 30 frame, right, it will not create any more particles. Otherwise, it will keep on generating particles. Okay, so 5, this one I can change, let's say to 10. Okay, be a bit more, put up more particles. Okay, let's make it more 50. Alright, so this is your breakfast cereal. Okay, breakfast cereal. Alright. Alright, no more question, then I'll end this session. Thank you very much, you guys. I'll send you the demo link soon lah. Okay?